My dad is prioritizing his stepkids over his real flesh and blood. So, what do? I gave him the money back that he tried to give as a gift for my graduation, and I tell him, you are not allowed at my graduation for the way you treated me. Guys, my name's Mr. Reddito, and today I have 3 stories for you that come complete with all the updates. The theme for today is, Am I the A-hole? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Let's hop into story number 1. My graduation ceremony is being held next week. My dad has given me some money in advance to pay for the party. I live mostly with my mom, but they were supposed to be hosting the event together. Dad and I have a rocky relationship. After my parents divorced when I was 4, they split custody of me. He was able to stay a good dad. When I was 10, he met Jane. Jane had 3 kids, twins, and a single child. They got married when I was 12, but I would say even before that, I felt like he prioritized her kids over me. A lot. He would cancel plans with me if they wanted to do something, and would either do things with them or force me to go and say it wasn't even better than our plans, when for me, it wasn't. Think going for a hike with me versus taking them to an indoor play area, or seeing a movie with me versus a kiddie park. One more example is when I was given a ticket for a concert my dad and I both love. He was supposed to buy a ticket to come for me or for some father-son time, but actually spent it on his youngest stepkid who wanted to have their room painted. He told me at the last minute, and let me tell you, it hurt. There are other times stuff like this happened. He did not show up at the hospital when I broke my arm, because one stepkid was getting their tonsils out, and wanted both of him and his wife there. He told my mom over the phone to tell me he was proud of me for being brave and understanding, even though I never said any of that. When I would bring this stuff up to him, he'd tell me it was natural to feel jealous of sharing his attention. That was all he would ever say. In 2019, he told my mom he would split the cost of a trip I wanted to go on with one of my clubs. Because, well, to be honest, she did not have the money all by herself. Mom had her half saved, and we told my dad he needed to pay. He said bills were tight and it was the twins' birthday and the money needed to go on something for them. He told me we could do something as a family when the trip happened instead. I told him to forget it, that he was making it clear he was more important and I was going to stay with my mom where I actually mattered. Mom borrowed money to cover the other half of the trip. Dad told me he regretted making me feel less important and we were working on things. And then the graduation money was given about a month ago. Then, a week ago, he called and told me how one of the stepkids was being bullied, how bad of a time they're having, and with the money they could help cheer them up for their birthday. I was pissed. I hung up the phone. Then, 2 days later, I showed up at his doorstep, gave him the money back, and told him I did not want to see him or his new family at my graduation, and that he's chosen who was more important, so he better stay out of my life. His stepkids and 2 younger bio kids were there. I did not stick around. He called and told me we needed to talk about it like adults, and that I hurt the kids' feelings. His wife also freaked out on me, so I blocked her. Am I the a-hole? One was actually a pretty sad read, and just before I get started, I will tell you there's an update for this story. But first of all, I think that OP was going through an outstanding amount of grief, and the way that her family was treating her was really bad. I am glad that OP did find some support with the women's group, but I think her family is narcissistic and gaslighting. Let me know exactly what you think about this in the comment section below. There's one comment that I do want to read from the original post. It says by Zookeeper, gaslighting, abusive, narcissistic behavior from the entire family. Block them all except her father, and start reaching out and making friends with other moms and people your age. So you can make your own network and close friends that way. Not the a-hole. Guys, let me know if you agree with this or not in the comment section. If you are enjoying the content so far today, smash that like button and consider subscribing. Here comes the update for this story right now. I'm a 25-year-old female and I have a 6-month-old son. His father is deceased. His father's family don't want anything to do with him, and my own family, minus my dad, have told me that they don't want anything to do with him either. I've read and heard enough to know that I should not expect anyone to help me, and that my kid is my own responsibility, so that's how I've been dealing with everything. I work from home, so I don't really need a babysitter for work or anything either. I'm okay, to be honest. I'm still dealing with grief and I'm kind of lonely, but every time I talk to anyone, they always remind me that they don't want to deal with a baby. For example, I sent my sister a funny post, and before reacting to the post, she sent me a warning text saying that this does not mean she'll babysit. I did not even mention my son. Everyone does this to me, my mother, sister, and friends. They also act like I made a mistake for not terminating after my boyfriend passed away. So yeah, I guess I'd rather be lonely. We have a family group chat, and although I don't bother texting on there after my sisters told me not to send any pics of my son because nobody cares except for me, I do read their conversations to feel something. I don't even know. Well, I don't know how they did not realize I was in the GC, because family GC, but they were talking about how they have a surprise party planned for my birthday, and I lost it. I burst into tears and immediately called my sister, who was with the rest of the family. I asked them what they were trying to accomplish after making me feel like shit for almost a year. She told me to stop being so dramatic, but I just kept going. I asked her and the rest of my family why they thought I'd appreciate the party after months of them not taking me or my baby. My mom told me she just wanted me to realize how difficult being a single mother is, but I told her to shut up. I then told them all to leave me the duck alone and don't bother with this surprise party. One sister called me a witch and the other laughed at me, saying that I'm being hysterical and overly dramatic, and they definitely weren't doing the party now, or at least until I apologized. I don't want to apologize though. I don't think I'm the a-hole, but my sister and mother say that I'm overreacting, and that this is exactly why I don't have any friends. They say I'm the a-hole, and my dad found out about everything. He came over last night and told me to ignore everyone, but I can't stop thinking about this. Guys, am I an a-hole? Wow, I've never felt so supported and loved in a very long time. I wasn't even going to post anything, but I'm so happy I did. I don't know how to explain just how big of an impact everyone's comments and DMs had on me. It was so lovely. Thank you so much for all the offers of friendship and more. So, as a few weeks ago, I moved in with my father. Being alone with my son had made me go crazy. The loneliness was literally killing me. I needed help, and I'm no longer ashamed to admit it, and my dad offered the help. I work Monday to Friday and have the weekends off, and well, I've been following everyone's advice and signed up for a mommy and me thing nearby. It was nerve-wracking, but so many moms were so friendly and came up to me themselves. I got 3 numbers and they're all inviting me to a dinner party. They're really sweet, despite being at least 5 years older than me. They've sort of adopted me. Their words, not mine. I'm also going for walks after work. My dad and son came along sometimes, and me and my dad also cook together, and we make some pretty neat stuff for his girlfriend, who has also been very kind. As for my mother and sisters, I still don't know why they dislike me and my baby so much, but I took the step and left the group chat. This might sound ridiculous, but it was really hard. I even shed a tear, but I did it. They haven't spoke to me since, by the way. I contacted my in-laws one time last, and I don't know why, but his parents said they were willing to meet. They won't try and take him from me, but my dad got me a lawyer just in case. I'm meeting them this weekend, and depending on how it goes, I will let them see my son eventually. Finally, I saw a doctor, and I've been diagnosed with PPD. I'm currently seeing a therapist that was recommended to me and have started a treatment plan. My son, father, and his girlfriend have been my biggest supporters, and I'm trying to better myself. But I've also been missing my fiancé a lot these days. His memory is kind of calming. I don't know. It's been very long, but I'm already seeing improvements in my life. It's crazy how making my original post kick-started this change. Thank you guys so much for everything. And a quick edit. Thank you so much for all the nice comments and messages. I'm trying to read them all, but there's too many and I cannot keep up. My sister and I are property investors who own 6 investment properties together. I know how the internet feels about evil landlords, so spare me that please, that's not why I'm here. We started with one house to live in, then bought lots of cheap houses and flipped them for rental income. We're doing well financially because of these said houses. My sister's getting married. Wedding is later this year. Well, pandemonium dependent, I'm helping her plan and we're going through a checklist, seeing what's left to be done. She mentioned caterers, venues, and invites, etc., and asked if she'd forgotten anything. I said yes. Prenup, and we both sang, "We won't prenup, yeah, yeah," like the Kanye song, then we laughed. She moved on to the next item without actually addressing it. I leave it for then and we go on our separate ways. I text her later in the evening, quote, "Hey, my friend used a really good lawyer to draw a prenup, so let me know if you want to ask for the deets." She replied she thought I was joking. She's not asking her husband to sign a prenup. I reply I wasn't joking. I must insist he signs one. She calls and says it's not my place to insist, and I say it is when our assets are tied together. She asks me if I'm trying to say something about her future husband, and I say I'm trying to be realistic and smart. Then guys, it goes all to hell. She starts yelling at me about being rude, jinxing her marriage before it even began, yada yada yada. I say either she gets a prenup or we transfer all property to my name and I get one if I ever get married. Then I hang up the phone. Been bombarded by family saying her future husband is a good guy who would never do that if they separated. He sent me a text admonishing me for hurting my sister and calling him a gold digger. He thought I liked him, and I'm not backing down on this. Guys, am I the a-hole for how I went about it or wanting one? Guys, it's been about 6 weeks since everything went down. I need to clarify a few things. Number 1, I cannot afford to buy her out, so that's not an option. She also does not want to sell because are long-term investments for us. Number 2, it wasn't a case of we each own 50-50 in the properties. Between us, we know that's the case. However, legally, sometimes I own 75% to her 25% and vice versa, because of our financial standing at the time we purchased the properties. I would stand to lose a lot if her marriage went south, because some of the more expensive properties she holds more equity in. The properties that have been paid off, we've been able to change the deeds, but those still mortgaged are the way of the bank's insistence. We have transferred all the properties into a trust. It's a legal protection that outlines how everything is split, including clarifications on who owns how much. It says that our spouses are not entitled to anything related to the homes. We've also decided to end our business venture together. We'll keep managing these properties, but we won't buy any more together for the sake of the relationship. Guys, we're doing okay, but still not as if we were expecting, I guess. Her husband's-to-be is still withdrawn around me, but honestly, I don't care. Their wedding is going ahead as planned later this year, hopefully. Thanks to all who offered advice. The laws in my country are a little bit different, but we found a solution. Upvote over, update done, short and sweet.